So to continue with the solving the quadratic equations using square roots, okay, we're going to look at two more examples here. So here we have 3x squared plus 9 equals 0. Okay. So what we're going to do is solve for x, but first, keep in mind we want to get x squared by itself. That's the first thing we want to get by itself. Okay, so in order to do that, we're going to subtract 9 first. Subtract 9. Subtract 9. 3x squared equals negative 9. Then we're going to divide by 3. Divide by 3. Get x squared equals negative 9. Okay, now at this point, we want to take the square root on both sides. Okay, so we're going to take the square root of x squared plus minus the square root of negative 9. And then we get a solution here that says x equals plus minus the square root of negative 9. Okay. And when looking at this, the square root of negative 9 would mean what number times itself is a negative 9? Okay. If you think about it, well, you have 3 times 3. 3 squared is 9. Right? If you square negative 3, you also get 9, in which case this solution here, okay, x being the square root of negative 9, there's no real number solution to the square root of negative 9, okay? So in this case, for now, okay, for now, what we have here is that there's no real number solutions, okay? So no real number solutions here. Right, square root of negative 9, can't do. So we can't have square roots of negatives right now. Okay, a little while, we'll do something new that we'll be able to do that. Let's look at this one. This one's a little different. We have 1/3 times x plus 3 quantity squared equals 5. So now what's a little different here is we don't have x squared. We have this binomial, x plus 3 quantity squared. So how do you know when to solve by square roots? Well, I said one case is when you have just an x squared. Well, the other scenario is when we have this. How does it look? We have this binomial with the x inside squared. So this is going to be a square root problem. So the first thing we want to do is not isolate like we did over here, x squared. The first thing we want to do is get x plus 3, that by itself. So we get square root of x, or x plus 3 quantity squared, that binomial squared, all by itself, which means we got to get rid of the 1/3 here. Okay, and we could do that by multiplying both sides by 3. So multiply by 3, multiply by 3 on both sides. 3 times 1/3 cancels out, so I'm left with this. Okay, now I got to get rid of this 2, that exponent 2. In order to do that, I use square roots. If I take the square root of something squared, okay, I'm going to get that something. So in this case over here, plus minus, don't forget the plus minus, square root of 15. Here we have x plus 3 quantity squared, and I take the square root of it. So the square root undoes the exponent 2, so it leaves me with just x plus 3 equals plus minus the square root of 15. And then last step would be to subtract 3 to both sides. So I get x equals negative 3 plus minus the square root of 15. And we always want to try to simplify. If we think of 15 as 5 times 3, right, neither one of those perfect squares, so we can't simplify that. So in this case, that would be done. Okay, in this case, that's what we got there. We're all done. Okay, so there's solving by square roots. Okay, we have a scenario where we have the x squared, or we have this binomial squared. All right, so that's the process. Make sure you look that over. Let me know if you have any questions.